So I know a few days ago I did make a video titled Bethesda's response to Creation Club. That was more of an unofficial response. It was taking a few tidbits of information from Twitter responses, basically responding to other people's tweets, and things from Bethesda.net, their kind of official forum, where they were also responding to people's different concerns. Well, now we have a more formal response. It's still not really anything directly from Bethesda to the community, but it is an interview with Pete Hines, the VP of PR and Marketing for Bethesda at PAX West, and it definitely shed some light on a lot of different things that maybe he thinks, maybe that Bethesda thinks, and I decided to pick apart some of the different things that they do talk about in the interview and show them to you. This interview was conducted by Tech Syndicate. I'm going to have a link to the full video down below. It has a plethora of other information, so I definitely recommend checking it out and checking out his channel. He does have a lot of other PAX West coverage, but with that, we'll just jump right into it. So things kick off with a pretty interesting question. That's going to be, what is Bethesda's overall goal with the future of modding? So Pete Hines kind of mentions how he's been supporting it since 2002, and they're going to continue to try new things and see what works and what doesn't. Basically, they're viewing paid mods, like the original paid mods, as something that didn't work, and that's a rhetoric Bethesda has been mentioning a lot lately. Creation Club is them seeing what's going to work. We're trying new things. I think that's an interesting response, but we'll get a little bit more into that a little later. Then there's a question about, are mod authors going to basically now just start working with Bethesda exclusively, because now with Creation Club you can make a pretty substantial amount of money? Pete Hines explains that this actually wasn't the case. Many of the mod authors in Creation Club right now haven't been only making mods for Creation Club. So I think that's a pretty good response, actually, because it's actual data, like the real world application of this results in most people making both mods and Creation Club content. He also goes on to say that basically people in Creation Club are more or less paid contractors. They're working for Bethesda, creating a mod for them to later sell on their Creation Club shop. This is the difference between paid mods and Creation Club. In paid mods, you just got a cut of the mod you are selling, and Bethesda didn't really have any hand in the process, and they weren't taking your content at the end. Pete Hines really explains how they view this as paying more or less another game developer. They're just kind of giving people in the community an opportunity to actually participate in this program. I know a lot of people kind of criticize me for being a Creation Club sympathizer. I'm not. I think in its current state, it's pretty garbage. I definitely think there could be some better stuff coming in the future, but I think this response from Pete Hines and Bethesda is pretty appropriate. I'll probably get backlash for this, but a lot of people argue that Bethesda should be giving money to these mod authors or developers, or whatever you want to call them, from the actual sales of the mod they did create. I really don't agree with this. I don't know, maybe some people don't realize how much money these guys are getting, but from what I understand, they're getting paid very well. And the way Bethesda looks at it is they're hiring a contractor that happened to be a member of the community. They are giving them a pretty good amount of money, like a lot of money to pretty much anyone over the course of a few months or however long it takes for them to complete that mod, and then Bethesda takes that work and sells it. It's like the same thing as a regular developer working on Fallout 4. Would they be expected to get a profit share from that game? Probably not. Again, there's a lot of other issues with the program. It's just this one in particular I don't necessarily agree with the backlash at. So then the interviewer here actually asked a really good question, basically bringing up that the quality of a lot of these free mods are noticeably better than that of the paid mods. For this one, I'll actually show you Pete Hines' response.
So,
okay, but hold on.
Is there a more stringent process
but that's
that could be
subjective,
right?
Right.
It's subjective. And we're not requiring you to buy Creation Club creations to continue playing the game that you already own. It's no different than if there's a video game out there, if you don't like it because you don't think it's as good as something else that's free to play or some mod that somebody's doing, well then don't buy it. Like, I don't understand what the problem is that across all platforms that there's an offering that somebody has the choice to buy, because you also have the choice to not buy it.
I personally think that was pretty atrocious. Everything Pete Hines says is totally true, but I think he's kind of missing the point here. Creation Club received a massive amount of backlash with its initial announcement. A lot of people were really skeptical to this going in. And then for Bethesda to release a bunch of mods that are either ports from their other games that probably took little to no work, to a bunch of other things that literally have free alternatives, like they are exactly the same. A Chinese stealth suit, a Hellfire power armor. Those are two very highly downloaded mods where the free alternative is basically just better. Yes, it's subjective, but it has more features. The quality of it is physically better. It's not even like they're equal and one has some pros and one has some cons. The free one is better in pretty much every single way. That felt like a massive slap in the face to the community, and I think if Bethesda just had a better release here, they could have avoided a lot of this backlash. But they didn't, and what they did was an atrocious release of Creation Club, and saying that they're subjective or that you could just ignore them, I don't think is appropriate at all. The modding community built up these games, and it created a platform for Bethesda as a company to even sell mods, then to totally turn a cold shoulder to them to simply create some additional revenue for yourself does feel feel pretty inappropriate and something that you shouldn't just say ignore and move on. Then moving on, we do have him asking a question about whether or not they're going to continue to support free mods after this. There's a big concern in the community that Bethesda is going to start taking down some free mods that are similar to the paid ones. Pete Hines says he's been supporting free mods for 15 years and they exist basically because they wanted to introduce modding into their games, but also people had the same concerns when Bethesda.net did come out, that they start going after Nexus and really just trying to push their platform on PC users. And well, that didn't happen. I think this is a great response. Again, I think people suggesting the notion that Bethesda is going to start taking down free mods is totally outlandish. They would have to be really stupid to do that. Like, that would be a massive PR mistake. But even further, yeah, a lot of people had concerns with Bethesda.net. And look at it now, people on Bethesda.net are pretty happy. It's mostly where Xbox mods are placed. The website definitely isn't perfect, but it has without a doubt been supported and improved over the year or so it's been out. And Nexus still exists and thrives on the other side of things for PC users. I don't think anything's going to change in this dynamic, and I don't think any free mods are going to be getting taken down. So then the interviewer kind of mentions how he wants some big converters. I'm guessing he means things like Enderall or Fallout Cascadia, and he kind of says how he would want stuff like that in the platform, things worth the money. Pete Hines has a pretty interesting response here. He says they actually have to be the same on all platforms. So the issue with something like Enderall would be maybe it's easily supportable on PC, but then something like Xbox One couldn't necessarily support it to its fullest extent, so it wouldn't be applicable through Creation Club. I don't really know how I feel about this. I mean, I guess it makes sense for a lot of reasons, but I just thought it'd be something interesting for you guys to think about. And then finally, one note that was kind of earlier in the video before the Creation Club talk started. The interviewer asked Pete Hines, do you play Skyrim heavily modded, lightly modded, or what? And he says he doesn't play Skyrim modded, or he's used some mods in the past, but he doesn't really do that. And even further, this is a direct quote, I don't have a PC that was good enough to do mods. And then when Skyrim Special Edition came out, he does mention how he got it on PS4, but didn't really use mods. I mean, I think that explains a lot, but for a game where mods are so integral, he got it on PS4, which one is by far the worst platform for modding. But again, I don't think I have to comment on that one. I think you guys can make your own conclusions from those statements. Regardless, I think this is pretty interesting. I mean, there's been some ups and downs here. Some of his comments I think were pretty good. I know a lot of people didn't see the original video. It only has like 30,000 views. So I did want to make this video kind of taking out the bits of information that are interesting. But again, you can find the full thing linked down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. I'm definitely going to be reading them. There's always some pretty interesting discussions about Creation Club there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, I thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time.